Hey everybody, this is Jim. We're going to do something a little different from the sports cards. Kind of more where I start in the realm here, wrestling. Today we're going to look at the main event of the first Wrestlemania. Happened in New York City, Madison Square Garden, 1985, March 31st. The show featured all kinds of characters on it, but we're going to focus on the main event tonight. Go ahead and fire up your WWE Network or wherever you watch them at and go to 1 hour, 47 minutes, 45 seconds. That's where we're going to pick it up. I hope everybody's there now. And go ahead and hit play in 3, 2, 1, boom.
Sounds like Bagpipe City.
So, with me, I got Mr. X. He's off camera. He's going to be my kind of narrator slash kind of partner in this crime, but he's going to appear off camera. What we have now is Roddy Piper, and I'm not sure which marching band this is or whatever, but he's, he has that Scottish heritage, and the bagpipes are playing him to the ring. It's a huge main event. We see him coming out now.
Well, it's all drums and bagpipes for the Rowdy one. They used to call him Rodney Piper in Mid-Atlantic sometimes. In error, I might add.
I believe you're right. And look who his partner is. Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
It's a lot of heat here. Unfortunately, the best technician is not even involved in this match somehow. I don't know how that happens.
Well, if you see his arm, it still has, he's been wearing the cast for quite a long time now, and the arm just stays not healing at this point. I think the officials need to check that though, because I think that's a little bit shady that it's taking this long to heal.
When did he break that thing? I don't know. When he was working for the Crockett's, it wasn't broken yet.
I'm not sure, but you can also see in the ring, the first Intercontinental Champion, Pat Patterson, is the main referee here. And the special enforcer on the outside is the boxing great, Muhammad Ali.
The one and only. Billy Martin's a special ring announcer here. We got special guests, everything. Let me ask you this. When did Patterson get licensed by the New York Athletic Commission? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I believe they had to be because New York State still, up to this day, has a athletic commission. And in '85, they were still doing the boxing and wrestling as athletic contests because it hadn't been exposed yet by Vince in '89. So, well, there you see the Hulk himself, Hulk Hogan with Mr. T and Jimmy Snuka.
Mr. T appears to have some kind of like 2-bit sponsorship on the back of his robe. I never noticed that before. What does it say?
I'm not sure. It looks like a robe you might find in a cheap hotel though here.
It's red though.
Well, you got to match the color of Hogan, his red and yellow. It says, I don't know, he's boxing up and down. It may say, I'm not sure what it says. But Jimmy Snuka here, he probably the most popular wrestler here, and I'm not sure why he was not in the main event. I'm not sure why they put Mr. T in there with this huge event on the line here. Because, as you're well aware, Vince McMahon went all in on this event. If this had somehow failed, there would have been no more WWF/E after this, because he went every single dollar he went in on this event.
To be completely honest with you, I think the problem here is that Roddy Piper, previous to this, had broken a coconut over Snuka's head for a shoot, and if Snuka was tagging with Hogan, I think the heat wouldn't have been squarely between Hogan and Piper, frankly.
That is very true. That's very true.
But I don't think at this point, I don't think around the country, I don't think Hulk Hogan was as popular as Jimmy Snuka. I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying. I think Hogan was kind of, stealing some of the stuff from Snuka here. There you see the special bell ringer, Liberace.
I believe he had a crystal bell from Tiffany, for goodness sake.
I believe I see that in his right hand. And you see Mr. Wonderful there. He is in fantastic shape here. Little connection between Hogan and T here. Hogan appeared on the popular show The A-Team twice, I believe, and they became friends, and they did good on the show, and they worked together here and in WCW as well.
That's a very good point. You got the Mid-Atlantic crew there. You got Cowboy Bob Orton and Piper, and then you got Mr. Wonderful, who I believe he worked for Ole Anderson not too long before this. But looks like Orndorff's going to start the match with the Hulkster there.
Well, that's because Piper here, he don't want to get in the ring with Hulk Hogan right now. He looks a little scared of him right now here.
I don't know. Piper's looking like he's saying he wants to tag, but
I think that's all an act. I think that's just he trying to put on a show here. If he actually does tag in and gets in there with Hulk, I think he's going to tag right back out.
All right, well, here we go. We got Piper and Hogan are in the ring. Are we going to get it?
Well, not sure what's going to happen here. But can you tell me more about the build-up to what brought this feud on here?
Well, you had that whole involvement, frankly. I mean, I know that the company wanted to build this event to be, not just box office, but they were really building a brand here, the World Wrestling Federation. I think they really wanted to make the brand name bigger than any of the respective stars, and they called in a lot of favors. They spent a lot of money in order to secure guys, mainstream people like Billy Martin in the sports world, or Liberace, or the Rockettes, or so you had to build up. I know you had Dave Wolf, who was Cyndi Lauper's manager, and I know he was heavily involved. So that brought a lot of people into the equation. I know Lou Albano was in a Cyndi Lauper video leading into the road to this, and then they had that War to Settle the Score on MTV. So, and you're right, Mr. T's not in the ring with Roddy Piper. So,
this led the next WrestleMania in New York City. This led to a boxing match between these two. It was kind of, I won't say infamous, but Roddy, I believe in like the third or fourth round, threw his stool at Mr. T's head.
Yes, correct. Well, that was the New York main event for WrestleMania 2. Interesting here because I've heard stories. I don't know how true they are, but that Mr. T was a little overzealous, maybe you might want to say, backstage, and Piper and Orndorff, I've heard, have said that they were ready to blow Mr. T up on a mat if he got a little carried away. So it's interesting to watch. I haven't really watched this match in a really long time, but it'd be interesting to see if they take him down and try to wear him out. Well,
the story I heard and I've read was that only one car per wrestler was allowed in the garage of the Madison Square Garden, and Mr. T had a whole entourage, like 3 or 4 cars, and they only let one in there, and he was a little upset about that, and it almost led to a real life fight back in the locker room between Piper and Mr. T here.
Jimmy Snuka was ready to jump off the top rope, but Ali comes in, regains order here because Cowboy Orton got in the ring. Hey, Ali took a swipe at Bob Orton there.
Well, you know, Bob Orton, he's smart there. He don't want to get hit by the former world champ now.
No, I don't think so.
And you know,
I also heard a story that Ali was taking his role seriously as the enforcer.
I've also heard that Pat Patterson, I believe, in a shoot somewhere said that he was really wanting to fight these guys.
All right. Well, as I said, Snuka was perched on the top rope. He looked like he was ready to come off. Although I'm sure that would have probably constituted disqualification in the match. So I'm sure you don't want to cost discharges Hogan and Mr. T the match there. It's the main event after all.
Now, this is not the first time Muhammad Ali has been involved in a wrestling angle / show here. I believe it was in Japan where he fought Mr. Inoki.
Antonio Inoki? Yes, I believe so. Yeah, wasn't Inoki doing a whole bunch of leg kicks?
Well, I believe going in that the backstory was they agreed no punches by Ali to Mr. Inoki, and basically no grappling. So I'm not sure what they ended up doing, but I know that it was all set up by, believe it or not, Fred Blassie. He was basically training and touring with Muhammad Ali for the build-up because, as you know, Fred Blassie was a legend in Japan.
All right. Well, we finally got Hogan and Piper in the ring one-on-one. That's what people have been waiting for since, I believe it was 1984, War to Settle the Score. So it was on MTV, and it was a burgeoning network at the time. And I think the people were waiting to see Hogan and Piper one-on-one in the ring. Interesting that they made it a tag team match, in fact, even, frankly, I mean, well, I guess the War to Settle the Score was the one-on-one with Piper and Hogan, but again, interesting that you don't have Jimmy Snuka in this match.
If they were going to do this, they either could have made it one-on-one with Hogan Piper, or they could have actually made it a six-man tag with Orton and Snuka respectively on the teams. But
I've never heard that said before, but I think that's very true. That could have been a possibility if you're going to go ahead and make the main event a tag team match anyway, where you weren't going to have the World Wrestling Federation Championship defended. Why not go ahead and throw the other, members of their stables in there?
That's a good point. Oh, now you see Hot Rod with a folding chair on to Hulk Hogan, who's down.
How is it not a disqualification?
Well, Mr. X, as you well know, if the referee don't see it, you cannot call it.
Oh, was Patterson distracted?
I believe he was.
Although Muhammad Ali looked like he saw it. Does he not have the power to call it disqualified? I guess not.
I believe he's just out there to, maintain order on the floor, but he's not there to call balls and strikes per se.
Okay, old school there. Piper just raked his bootlaces against Hogan's eyes. And looks like we got a little buffering here, but no worries. But see, okay, where's Patterson? Oh, Piper had Patterson distracted. Orndorff was choking Hulk Hogan down there in the corner.
Well, that's old school heel work right there. You get the referee distracted by the face tag team partner coming in trying to save his partner, but the referee's distracted,
right?
And they can just do all the dirty work they want. And if the referee don't see it, can't call it.
Patterson's getting all in the middle of everybody here.
Well, he's not one to mess with. He's as I mentioned earlier, he's a very first WWF Intercontinental Champion.
Okay, here we go. Ali's coming back in the ring now. He's not taking no mess.
Well, Piper does have a boxing background, though. But I don't think it's up to the caliber of the former world champ here.
I don't think he wants to mix it up with Muhammad Ali here. But it looks like Patterson is having a hard time getting Ali to leave the ring. Legitimately here.
Well, Mr. X, I believe you said earlier that Ali took his role seriously. And it's showing. He's really wanting to fight these guys. He's taking it very seriously.
Hulk Hogan's taking a beating here. Getting double teamed. Paul Orndorff is just maybe 1 or 2 years removed from being in a analgesic commercial as Atlas. So his physique, he's at his peak right now. I think
Got a cover. 1, 2. Hogan kicks out with authority here.
But Piper and Orndorff are tagging in pretty regularly here.
Well, that's the thing. Mr. T is not a wrestler. So what kind of experience? What kind of limitations does his inexperience cause the team here?
And that's the thing. So for your build-up to your WrestleMania, you had these guys on all the talk shows together. Hogan, Mr. T. You had them up here, I believe, host Saturday Night Live, coming into this build-up. So your mainstream exposure is big as it possibly could get. Before the internet, even existed at all. Broadcast television, that's about as big as you're going to get besides a newspaper or radio. So as far as for the match itself, you need Mr. T in there. But if you're Hulk Hogan and you're going to take on Orndorff and Piper, wouldn't you rather have Jimmy Snuka in there as your partner?
That's what I was saying. I know he's a gamer. I know he's a, former bouncer in one of the toughest bars in Chicago. That's where he got all his jewelry from. Basically, guys that he kicked out, he took their jewelry, or they left it there, or a combination of both. But they needed exposure, and Mr. T was a huge name at this time. And I believe also,
is Orndorff gassing out Mr. T right now? Is that what he's doing?
I believe he's amateur riding him here, making him carry his weight here. Good technical wrestling here.
I gotta keep an eye on this because I've heard a story that's what they were attempting to do. Legitimately keep him from a tag for X amount of time. Wear him out. Make his tongue wag on the floor.
Well, legitimately or not, that's a great strategy in this match because he's an inexperienced one. And, when Hulk Hogan starts getting going, he's going to be hard to stop. So you'd want to keep the inexperienced, lesser guy in there as long as you can.
Piper is almost working like almost a Darce here. That's weird to see that.
Mr. X, for our non-MMA fans, can you quickly explain what a Darce choke is and what it does?
Oh, it's blood choke. It's similar to a front chancery, but he's got his other arm hooked in. Well, he's out of it now. Anyway. Now Hogan's back in the ring, and he's gonna... Oh, there's a noggin knocker there.
I know we were talking earlier about exposure. I'm not sure exactly when he was, but I know Hulk Hogan was the very first professional wrestler to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I'm not sure what... I don't know if it was right before this or after this. But either way, that's great exposure for the sport of professional wrestling.
Okay, here we go. Snuka and... Oh my gosh, Snuka just headbutted Cowboy Bob and he flew over the top rope.
Well, and I want you to note something. Those ropes are very loose compared to what they are now.
Okay, wait a minute now. T's got Piper and Oh my gosh, Orndorff's got Hogan in a full Nelson. Oh my goodness, Cowboy Bob just waylaid Mr. Wonderful. Snuka knocks Orton out of the ring, and Patterson's gonna go for the 1, 2, 3. There we go. Here's your winners there, Hogan and Mr. T. He didn't even Hulk up.
I think that's one of the first times he has not done that unless he starts right after this, because that's one of the staples of his match. You know, he's down for a while. He starts to shake. He starts to shake his head. No, no, no. He starts to ball his fist and gets that adrenaline flowing. And when he does that, you know the match is going to be over. Oh!
Piper just slugged Patterson, and he flips everybody off, and he leaves. Piper doesn't care. He didn't take the pin. But check it out. They left Mr. Wonderful in the ring by himself. Mr. T's checking on Mr. Wonderful. Even he feels bad for the guy.
Well, you know, he took a cast right to the back of the neck.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful, like, he's just coming to. He doesn't know what happened now. He doesn't realize his partners left him alone. He's just trying to defend himself, and he realizes his partners have abandoned him.
Well, that's not the first time Orton and Piper have abandoned one of their partners now.
This is true. This is going to set up a nice little few-month time period of Mr. Wonderful actually being a good guy here in the World Wrestling Federation.
Yes. Yes. You know, him and, you know, he was upset that they left him, and I believe he started having a feud with Orton and Piper. And, but then somehow he switches back to being a bad guy. In '87, him and Hogan had probably the feud of the year. They were going tooth and nail every match. And I believe Orndorff should have won the world title. But with Hulk Hogan there as the face.
Oh, there you go. Hulk Hogan's in the middle of the ring, and he's posing.
Well, Mr. X, you know Hogan must pose.
I guess there you go. WrestleMania main event. There you go. There he goes. Pecs are bouncing, and he's flexing.
Well, Mr. X, this is our first video on the wrestling side, and I believe we're gonna be doing more of these. We're gonna be doing basically all the main events of WrestleMania coming up, and then we'll pick other matches to go that we can insight on to give the people out there more of an insight into wrestling that they don't know.
You're paying me, right?
No, I'm not. That's why you're not on camera.
Oh, jeez.
Well, for Mr. X, this is Jim. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and we will see you later.